Opinions expressed by talk show hosts or callers on KWRO do not management of Bi-Coastal Media LLC, its sponsors, or possibly anyone else on the planet. From high atop the historical hall building in beautiful downtown Coos Bay, it's the Rob Taylor Report. So strap yourself in. Your weekly political therapy session is about to begin. And ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the nearly famous Rob Taylor.
This week, if you're joining the show, I appreciate it. This is something we do every week. We try to get local news and local issues that are happening all the time, and this is something that we want to get out as much
Opinions
news as
expressed by talk show hosts or
I've got a
callers on
gentleman
KWRO
here
do not
who's
necessarily
talking
represent
about
the
situation
opinions
that's
of the
going
staff
on
and management
in
of Bi-Coastal
Reedsport.
Media LLC,
I know
its
that
sponsors,
it is a
subsidiaries, or
controversial
possibly
issue, and it has
anyone
to
else
deal with
on the planet.
dispensary in Reedsport. Let me give you a little bit of a background. There was a gentleman who wanted to open a business who wanted to open up the dispensary.
From high atop the historical hall building in beautiful downtown Coos Bay,
what had happened
it's
is
the
that
Rob
during
Taylor
the process
Report.
of opening up
So
the
strap
store,
yourself
they
in.
put a
Your weekly
poster up
political
on the
therapy
front
session
window.
is about
The
to
poster
begin.
had an emblem of
And
their
ladies and
logo.
gentlemen,
And
here
the
he
logo
is,
has
the
a
nearly
small
famous
marijuana leaf
Rob
on the logo, and of course
Taylor.
the city. And I'll tell you though, if you look at the logo, and this is Herbal Choices, there's one here in Coos Bay, and if you look at the logo, it's not even really a marijuana leaf, it's a stencil of a marijuana leaf. And they put that up in the window, and the city came in and took away their license. Well, I'm going to talk to a gentleman who's a real estate agent and who's dealing with this right now because he's, this is something that he helped them get this business, and he helped them to get this location, and now he's a little upset because the city will not allow them to now do business. They pretty much have cut it off. And so with me right now is Jim Deatherage, and we're going to talk about the situation that's going on in Reedsport. Jim, how you doing?
Hey, good, Rob. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Wow, that microphone has a wild spring on it. Yeah, I can hear you. So tell me, when did you guys did you get this building for the company?
Well, Herbal Choices bought the building several months ago. Basically, I'm not an owner of Herbal Choices, but I have worked with them in every store as far as because I'm a realtor and also
Right.
Planning. I do a lot of planning work, so I've helped them to open these stores and deal with all the planning issues and the paperwork and stuff. So they opened. They started about a month ago. They started applied for the permit. At that time, they told them about the problem with their logo, and of course, I got involved in and argued with them a little bit because I didn't see the problem with the logo. That leaf that they're talking about does not look like a marijuana leaf. I mean, it does have 5 leaves on it, but it's
Right.
It's supposed to be toned down, because of Herbal Choices and the issues you have to deal with. This is a new business and everything.
Right, and
They
it's
wanted
still
to make
controversial.
keep it as less controversial as possible.
And that's what I found interesting about it is because you go around to some of these stores and like the stores that sell just smoking devices to smoke the product, you can see in many of those stores, they have marijuana leaves that are very real in their depiction. Whereas yours, like I said, the one on Herbal Choices is a stencil-like picture. So I can't understand why the city didn't allow this, because the city is going to make a huge amount of money from the taxes that is created by this business. I know that Herbal Choices is got several stores, and that they're over here in Coos Bay. They're over in Bandon, and they're over in Charleston. You got a beautiful store over in Charleston, and there's something that I think that as a business they should be allowed to be able to do, or at least show what their business portrays, or as far as what they're selling. You know what I'm saying? This is a First Amendment right issue. This is something where if people are going to know what to get at this store, you may want to put an emblem of something that you're selling on here. And like you said, it's a controversial issue. And I know that a lot of people might be opposed to this because they think that it's something that we're trying to that the store is trying to promote to children, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, considering we live in an age where someone can just push a button on a cell phone. You know, a child can push a button on a cell phone and get the most hardcore pornography right now without, you know, any effort whatsoever. So I find it kind of weird that they would be insulted by having this emblem on there. That's something that should be just absolutely fine with them. There's a city meeting coming up. Are you guys planning on attending that next month?
We're hoping to go to the next city council meeting and hoping to get a bunch of support to go with us.
And I intend on going there. I know that I want to go there and I want to speak out in favor of businesses because I think that this is something that I'd rather see legal, taxed, and done in a way where people can do it without feeling like they're being targeted or treated like a second-class citizen, because this is illegal stuff in Oregon right now. And even though, you know, we have plenty of alcohol out there, I would argue, and I know you probably would argue this too, that the reason that marijuana is a good thing is that there's a lot of people in society who can't handle their alcohol. There's a lot of people in society who will go out and use harder drugs. Heroin, methamphetamine is one of them. Marijuana is a substitute for all of those drugs. And I've known people who've been able to use those substances and have been able to use marijuana as a way to alleviate some of the addiction that they're going through now. And that's why I always say that this is a better drug, because it's harm reduction. And that's what we're dealing with, harm reduction in the effort of doing this. So I do know that if you want to get out there, the next meeting is, what did you say that was on?
I believe it's the first Monday of the month.
First Monday of the month. That's right. At 7 o'clock. Yeah, I believe it was 7 o'clock. Yeah, and they had a weird time on that. And it was funny because I was planning on going last week, and I thought it was on Tuesday, which, you know, with all the different meetings that you have all over the county, it's hard to keep up with the different cities. And I know you've been dealing with quite a few cities lately. What you know, Reedsport is, compared to all the other cities that you're in, how are they as far as being, you know, applicable to businesses?
Well, you know, Reedsport has a lot of problems besides this. I mean, I think everybody has an issue with the police department and how they ticket everybody and harass people. So they're not very good with businesses, that's for sure. This whole thing is kind of ridiculous, I think, the way they've handled it.
And which is odd, because I know that you opened a store recently in Bandon, and Bandon has actually been pretty, you know, willing to comprehend, you know, and
they were
accommodate you.
Little fearful at first, I guess.
Right.
But right now, everybody seems to be embracing it. They're getting all kinds of compliments down there, and everybody seems to be loving it. Herbal Choices does try very hard to get involved with the community, giving away scholarships and things like that. So.
And by the way, we had a couple of two North Bend School District candidates who I asked them specifically if they would take the Herbal Choices scholarship that the current district turned down, and they said they would be more than happy to. In fact, one guy gave out a number for the community college, and I thought, you know, I'll go listen to the recording. I'll get you that number, and you can get it over to the owners of Herbal Choices. And you know, I think someone at the college age would probably appreciate it a heck of a lot, you know. So I think it's something that I appreciate. And I don't know why the school districts would turn it down. Once again, it goes back to that controversial issue that this is something that is a drug, and that, you know, and I agree with them. There's a lot of parents out there. You're a parent. You know, we want our kids to be as sober as they can be. We want them to abstain from all kinds of horrible things, but life is life, and people are people, and they're going to do what they do, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. So to me, to make it the most harm reduction as you can is the best way to do it. And you don't want your children, your children are old enough to go and consume this product at 21, you don't want them going to the dealers that some people used to have to go to back in the 80s, because those dealers aren't just going to be selling marijuana. They're going to be pushing all of the harder stuff. And you know, right now, heroin, you know, and I don't understand heroin. I wouldn't ever touch the stuff. I think it's I don't know why people do it. I mean, to me, it's I don't know why you would want to shoot up, lay in your own waste for 6 hours, dozing out. I don't get it. And marijuana doesn't do those types of things to you. And alcohol's the same way. I mean, I get a little whiskey in me and all of a sudden I think I can take on, Lou Ferrigno, and it's crazy. So, I think there's a lot of harm reduction. We're going to go to a commercial. We got a commercial set. And when we get right back, we're going to ask Jim a few more questions. And with that, we'll be right back.
Hi, Danny at Far West Tire and Auto here. Sometimes once in a while a basketball forgets to look both ways before bouncing across the street. When those moments happen, be ready for the stop with the Michelin Premier All-Season Tire, a tire design with more performance in mind. Far West Tire and Auto on Highway 101 Coos Bay. Always the right tire, always the right price.
Stop in today to the all-new one-stop gun shop, Hole in the Wall Gun Shop in Coos Bay. Your area leader in quality firearms. Hole in the Wall Gun Shop proudly features the top brands of new and used handguns, hunting rifles, black rifles, antique and collectible guns, ammo, mace, and more. Gun cleaning and repair, expert advice, and handgun safety classes for concealed carry permits are offered too. So stop into Hole in the Wall Gun Shop across from Cumion's on Highway 101 South in Coos Bay. We buy, sell, or trade.
I'm the third generation of our family-owned and operated business, Ragin' Coffee Company. For a quarter of a century, we have been providing some of the best coffee around. We are NOP certified organic by Oregon Tilth since 2007. We make it easy by offering free shipping from our website, RaginCoffeeCo.com. That's RAYJEN CoffeeCo.com. You can find the packaged coffee at Bandon Coffee Cafe, Coastal Mist, and McKay's and Bandon. Give it a try. Ragin' Coffee. You'll be hooked.
The RV business is booming at the Boomin' Y, and Gibbs RV is looking for nice pre-owned RVs to consign or buy. Gibbs RV makes it so simple. They will come to your location, give you a fair appraisal, and help take care of all the paperwork. It doesn't get any easier than that. So let the professionals at Gibbs RV take the hassle out of selling or consigning your RV. Stop by and see them today at 1845 Ocean Boulevard in Coos Bay by the Big Boomin' Y in Empire, or check them out at GibbsRV.com.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey, everybody. I want to thank you for joining us. And if you are someone who is completely, you want to talk about this issue, you can call in at 541-267-2124. And once again, it's 541-267-2124. And you can put your 2 cents in because, like I said, this is a controversial issue. And I know that there's a lot of people who may not agree with us, but there were a lot of people who emailed and were calling Herbal Choices and telling them to stick in the fight because they have now filed a lawsuit against the city for violating their First Amendment rights. And the city didn't give them much time to do an appeal on that. Jim, could you tell us about the people who've been contacting Herbal Choices?
Well, quite a few people have been contacting and asking Herbal Choices to hold their ground and to not settle the suit. All the issues that all of us have talked about for years with the police department and just the way the city runs. The city manager, Jonathan Wright, seems to have a lot of people that really want to see him vacate that position.
Right.
He seems to be the center of the problems.
And I've heard that as someone who's dealt with a lot of city managers. There are just some that are better than others, and I've had my agreements and disagreements with all of them. But I've never dealt with this man, so I can't really say. But if he's doing the things that you're talking about, then yeah, it's a great concern to us. Is there any way that people can get in contact with the folks over at Herbal Choices to show support?
They can contact them through their Facebook or through their website. TheHerbalChoices.com.
All right. Is there anything you want to add on this subject?
I can't think of anything else other than we need community support. People need to be contacting the city of Reedsport. They need to go on to Herbal Choices Facebook and start commenting on this.
I saw some of the video of the people who got up at the meeting and were opposed to it, and there was one lady talking about the emergency room and how there were people dying in the emergency room who are overdosing on marijuana. And I can tell you right now that didn't happen. There's no one who died of overdose of marijuana. You can call the emergency room. I know because I did, and they have no absolutely no record, nothing on the record that anyone has ever died of too much marijuana. In fact, they're not even sure whether people who come in who have ingested too much of this, if that's even a clinical overdose, because an overdose means you can usually take too much of it and die, whereas marijuana, that's not the case, but you can suffer taking too much, but you could suffer too much of taking too much water. You could get too much oxygen and have a problem. So, we used to always joke in the old days that nobody's ever died of pot except the kid who didn't want to give up his joint and was running from the cops. And that did happen a lot of times back in the day when this was something that in Texas or in New York or, in many places on the West Coast where there were some very stiff penalties for people who smoked marijuana. Heck, I know. I've got uncles who grew up in the 70s who tell us horror stories of, some of the things that went on, in Texas at the time. So there's a legitimate reason, and it's time that we step out of the shadows of this. I know, like I said, there's a lot of controversy into this. I know there's a lot of people out there who are listening to me who are good friends of mine who have supported me on my conservative issues. But this is one of those things that I'm socially liberal on, and that's what I get accused of. But to be quite honest with you, I think it's a conservative issue because as a conservative, you want to do as little harm as possible, and you want to make something so that the market can regulate it.
Yep. Choice.
And it's about choice. And it's also very much about choice so that you can decide what you want to do with your body. Isn't that what the left is always saying? My body, my choice. Well, this is the same thing. And, and I tell people it's almost the same argument when you're talking about guns. I hear all the time people are talking about, well, you don't want to have guns. Someone could get hurt. Well, yes, that's true. But that's what you live with in a free society. And when you have choices and you have opportunity to make those choices, you're going to have danger and you're going to take risk. And that's the risk of being in a free society. Jim, if we really don't have nothing to talk about, I really appreciate you coming in. I know Herbal Choices is a fine sponsor of our show, and I do appreciate everything they do for us. And I'll be in contact with you. I know I'll be at the meeting when it happens the first Monday in next month. So I thank you for coming in. I do appreciate it. And with that, I think we're going to go to a commercial early. So we'll see you at the end of this commercial.
Hey, don't be left standing in the dust. Take the lead with the help of Tom & Giggs 4x4 Performance Parts and Service. Off-road truck parts, lift kits, accessories, and more. Whether it's hitting the dunes, slinging some mud, or hitting the mountains, Tom & Giggs can definitely help you get your rig ready for your next adventure. What are you waiting for? Get it to Tom & Giggs Automotive next to Moe's Car Wash in Empire, Coos Bay, or visit TomandGiggs.com. Bigger is better.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Genucel right now is having their 50% off limited time sale. It's their half-price clearance sale. And if you order Genucel to get rid of bags and puffiness under your eyes, you'll also get Chamonix's brand new Platinum Tan Enhancing Body Lotion. That's a free gift. Perfect hydration, tan, and protection to rejuvenate, hydrate, maintain that bright summer glow with a lotion unlike anything you can buy in any store. So sit back, relax, enjoy the beach with the best-looking skin possible and no bags or puffiness under your eyes. They're gone. Everybody I know that's tried Genucel from Chamonix loves it, swears by it. Linda, Lauren, and so many others. Call now, 800-SKIN-509, 800-SKIN-509, guaranteed to work in 12 hours. Your money back, guaranteed, no risk to you. You'll also get the Platinum Tan Enhancing Body Lotion free while supplies last. And if you call now, shipping is free. It's 800-SKIN-509. It's the half-price summer clearance sale at Genucel.com. 1-800-SKIN-509 from our friends at Chamonix and Genucel.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss. Ken Fisher, founder and executive chairman of Fisher Investments.
We don't sell annuities. We'll never sell annuities. Most annuities have nosebleed level fees, don't do what the customer thinks they do, have tremendous tax problems, are hard to get out of once you're in them, and are extremely confusing.
Don't let the sound of guaranteed income lead you to financial headache. Call now for your free report, Annuity Insights, and find out why legendary money manager Ken Fisher hates annuities. Call 1-800-770-3377 and see what you might be getting into.
Anything you want to do with annuities, there's a better way to do. If you have more than $500,000 to invest, talk to us.
Get your free report, Annuity Insights, and find out the 9 questions every annuity investor should ask. Call now, 1-800-770-3377. That's 1-800-770-3377.
There's a common assumption about identity theft. A lot of people believe it's just credit card fraud, but credit card fraud isn't the only form of identity theft. And if you're just protecting your identity by monitoring your credit and checking your bank statements, well, you could miss some forms of identity theft. Like, for example, your information being for sale on the dark web. That means somebody getting an online payday loan in your name, or even someone draining your 401k. Now, thank God there's LifeLock. Now, they use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a wide range of identity threats. You have a problem, one of their U.S.-based restoration specialists will work to fix it. Now, we can't prevent all identity theft, monitor every transaction, but with LifeLock.com, you can see more than you'd see by just monitoring your credit. Join now. You get a 10% discount just by visiting LifeLock.com/Hannity, or just call 1-800-LifeLock. Use the promo code Hannity. LifeLock.com/Hannity and save 10%.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me. If you're just tuning in, we were just talking about the Herbal Choices store that's trying to open up in Reedsport, and how the city has denied them the license because they said they had a marijuana emblem on one of the signs in their store, which is kind of ironic because that's what they sell. So I'm one of those who I believe in the commerce, and if you sell a legal product, then you should be able to advertise that product. I don't think you should be able to direct your product towards children and whatnot, but you should be able to put a sign in your store. I think that's absolutely appropriate. But I want to get on to another subject. I'm kind of a little upset with some of the people in Coos County because there was an incident. I love when there's an incident. Too bad that there was an incident, though. But when there is, I like to come along and correct things or try to right wrongs. And one of the incidents that I'm talking about is a recipient of 2 Purple Hearts has to file a lawsuit for defamation. Now, I don't normally go over to the World newspaper, but when they have an article that's something of this interest, of this level, you kind of got to pay attention. And I contacted this gentleman's lawyer, and that I'm going to tell you about here. And I talked and left a message and asked them if they'd come on the show, because I'm going to tell you what happened to this gentleman who owns a business over in Charleston. The owner of the Empire Seafoods, LLC, Christopher Shepard is his name, is fighting back after someone wrongfully accused him online as being a pedophile. And he is suing them for $800,000 in damages. Good for you! Good for you, Christopher Shepard! Let me explain to you what happened. During the night between Monday evening and Tuesday morning, May 6th and 7th, Shepard woke to answer his cell phone only to hear someone duct tape homemade flyers throughout Charleston and Empire accusing him of being a pedophile. How would you like to wake up to that, folks? Yeah. That would take the sugar right out of your coffee, wouldn't it? Well, the flyers read, Sex Offender Neighborhood Watch, listed his name and his home address. Real nice of these dirtbags. It also falsely accused him of taking young boys into a garage and a boat to molest them. Isn't that nice? Yeah, how would you like to wake up to flyers saying that you tried to take 2 boys into the boathouse to molest them? That's really nice. The World checked the sex offender registry and found no record on Shepard. And by the way, I checked as well. I checked my resources, and I can guarantee you my resources are absolutely astounding. And they told me that they have found nothing in this gentleman's past to make anyone think that he was a child molester. And in fact, that he is a veteran. But the World, who checked the sex offender, also found nothing. And the lawsuit also states that Shepard has never been convicted of any crime. Get that? He hasn't even been convicted of a crime, but yet he's being charged or accused of being a child molester. In addition, a woman took a picture of one of the flyers and posted it on 2 community pages. I can only guess, probably that What's Happening Coos County Facebook page. I'm willing to bet that's one of them. And of the 2 combined Facebook pages, she was able to reach 25,000 people on that post. That's an incredible amount of people. Anyone who's on Facebook knows this. But since then, the decorated war veteran, that's Mr. Christopher Shepard, who owns Empire Seafood LLC, has received over 100 hostile and threatening messages. His attorney, Lan Leslie, owner of Lavos Cobb Attorneys in Eugene, filed the defamation claim Tuesday, May 7th. The lawsuit is against Diana Betts. That's right, Diana Betts is getting sued for defamation of character. And the woman who allegedly posted the picture on the flyer on Facebook. An amended lawsuit is expected to be filed soon that will also name the man who created the flyers and stuck them on the lamppost around town to begin with. Good deal. I hope they get him really good, and I hope they get this Diana Betts, because let me explain something to you, Mrs. Betts. You're innocent until you're proven guilty. So you're innocent, Miss Betts, until they prove you guilty in a civil suit, and I hope they do prove you guilty. Because if you are guilty of defaming this man, this veteran, a man who served this country, who created a business and created jobs, and some dirtbag like you goes around defaming a veteran without living up to the ideology we have in this country, innocent until proven guilty. Because you too, Miss Betts, you're innocent until proven guilty. Well, so is Christopher Shepard. And shame, shame, shame on all the rest of you Coos County residents who gave all those hostile comments and tweets and emails to this poor man. Shame, shame, shame on those of you who called his business and made such a ruckus over this that he had to shut down his company. Shame on you, because I hope one of you get put into this position at some point in time and you've been accused of doing something you are completely innocent of. You know, I'll tell you what, I've been accused of things that I've been completely innocent of, and that's not a pleasant feeling. So I feel very sorry for Christopher Shepard, and I'll tell you what, if he wants to come on here and bring his attorney onto my show anytime in the future to talk about his case, I am more than happy to have Mr. Shepard on the show. But Leslie, his attorney, said that the man behind the flyers is believed to be a former employee of Shepard's who was fired for possession of illegal drugs. So this guy's a real dirtbag, and he's maligning a veteran of this country? Well, unfortunately, he's innocent too until proven guilty. But once they prove him guilty, I hope all you residents who went after Mr. Shepard goes after this dirtbag who maligned Mr. Shepard just as harshly. Well, an amended law, well, let's see, where was it here? For Shepard, he has been in the community for 4 years with his wife and his son. Shepard is the recipient of 2 Purple Hearts. 2 Purple Hearts! And you're maligning this man, among other medals, after serving 1 tour in Afghanistan and 2 tours in Iraq. Yeah, fighting for the right of these dirtbag drug users who are too derelict to even keep a job. Some of the honors he received after going into the line of hostile fire to rescue fallen soldiers on a battlefield, as well as placing his Humvee between rocket-propelled grenades and his fellow servicemen. Christopher Shepard, you are a hero, and I am so sorry that some dirtbag, low-life drug user decided to malign your character. And I hope there's a special place in hell for that dirtbag. But he is innocent until proven guilty. And if we do prove him guilty, then I hope he rots in hell. So let's stick with our whole credo. But if you saw these flyers and you know the person who's doing this, for anyone who may have seen the yet unnamed individual posting these flyers in Charleston and Empire, Leslie, the attorney for Christopher Shepard, encourages everyone who's seen this to come forward and call his office at 541-484-9292. Once again, this is for Christopher Shepard, a veteran who put his life on the line so that dirtbag druggies can have a job, the freedom to have a job, and then the freedom to go out and look for a new job when he gets fired for being a druggie. And then that druggie has the audacity to malign poor Mr. Christopher Shepard. Well, like I said, I hope there's a special place in hell for this dirtbag, and I hope Mr. Shepard is listening to me. I hope his attorney gets in touch with me, because when he does, we're going to have a long discussion about this, and I'm going to keep up with this case because it was something that really, really ticked me off, if you can't tell. Something else that got me going this past week was the Oregon Supreme Court. They finally came out with a good decision. I know it's difficult to believe. Wake up, smell the air, drink some coffee, because guess what? Your trash is private property. You know, if you leave your garbage and recycling on the curb in a container, you cannot see through it, and the lid is down. You are the only one who can sift through it. Did you know that? Well, the Oregon Supreme Court just ruled on that today. Not today, but last week, the Oregon Supreme Court made that decision Thursday. In the decision, the court cited two cases, one involving newspaper reporters rooting through city officials' trash, which, another with police asking a garbage company to bring them some trash that might have evidence in it. Now, both of those things are illegal. And I'll tell you what, this is good for people like me who have been dealing with the homeless, who have been sifting through our trash. In Bandon, we've had a couple of guys who walk down the streets on trash day to go through our trash barrels, and then they leave all their stuff that they find in the trash barrels all over the street. Thanks a lot. I mean, if you're going to go through it, at least have the decency to leave the trash in the trash can. But no, these derelicts of society, they call them homeless. I call them bums. And they keep going into our trash can, so we called the police. The police showed up, and you know what they told us? I don't know if that's even a crime. Well, thanks. And I'll tell you, usually the Bandon police officers, they're pretty good police officers. They've come down there and they've rousted these homeless out of loitering down at the end of our street, doing their crazy drug dances. You'd have to come out to see it and explain it. Anyone who lives in the Empire neighborhood knows exactly what I'm talking about. They go around talking to themselves and dancing on the corner. In fact, I was over in Empire neighborhood just recently. I was over there talking to one of my sponsors, Tim over at Tom and Kiggs. And as we were standing there, this car comes flying by with some kid hanging on the side of it, trying to get into the window. He whips back around after getting onto 101, comes back through that auto car wash, and starts yelling at the young lady that he's holding onto her car. And she opens up the passenger door. He jumps in and drives off. And I thought, only that could happen in Empire neighborhood, because that was just weird. And me and Tim just looked at each other wondering what the heck is going on with our country. So that's some of the things that we've been dealing with. But if you want to make sure that your trash isn't getting that they're not going through it, that it's not getting sifted through, you don't want the police going through it, well, guess what? The Supreme Court says it's your property until it hits the truck. So that's really nice. There was something that's been going on in Oregon that's been happening lately. It's happening to a lot of students. It's going to change the life of a lot of students, and that's this new vaccine bill. I know this is something that's very much of a concern of my producer, and I know it's a concern of a lot of people out there. Well, there was hundreds of protesters to protest the vaccination bill in the Oregon House. Some 200 vocal anti-vaxxers packed Ashland Plaza this past Friday, chanting, "Kill the bill," and vowing to pull their children out of schools if the legislature passes a bill banning exemptions for philosophical and religious reasons. To be quite honest with you, folks, you should pull your kids out of school anyway. It's not the kids who aren't vaccinated who are going to hurt your kids. It's the indoctrination that's going on in public school that's going to hurt your kids. But House Bill 3063, which passed the House by 35 to 25 this past Monday, and it was a very controversial bill, is headed to the Senate. And many believe that it will be passing the Senate. But Governor Kate Brown has said she will sign the bill if it clears the last hurdle. And of course she will, because, she's a goose-stepping Nazi, so what do you figure? But families could claim only medical exemptions to vaccines under the bill. Unvaccinated children would still be able to attend online or homeschool, but they could not go to in-person school-related activities. Lawmakers amended the bill to make it easier for parents to seek medical exemptions. Big deal. Here's the thing I don't get. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. In fact, I got my kid double vaccinated because I'm so paranoid that he might have got sick. But the thing is that if I get my kid vaccinated, why do I care if your kid is vaccinated or not if the vaccines work? So I'm not I'm against this bill, House Bill 3063. And if you're opposed to it for whatever reason, because I'm opposed to it on moral reasons, I think that a lot of these vaccines do a great job. They work, some of them. I will give you that. And if I want to vaccinate my kid, I think that's great. But I don't think nobody should be forced to be vaccinated, one. And I don't think that you should be exempted from school because you pay for those schools. And like I said, if your child's vaccinated, you shouldn't have to worry about the children who are not vaccinated. Now, of course, some of these quick quip people who are for forced vaccination will say, well, yeah, but not the vaccination that you get may not be for the strain of measles that is going around. Well, yeah, so what you're telling me is I may have something in my body that I paid for that doesn't even work in case I need it to work when I have a measles or come across someone who has measles. I have to make sure I come across someone who has the strain that I'm vaccinated for. So even the vaccinations are limited to what they can do. So I'm one of those who believes that, live and let live, and let's not force people to do things they just don't want to do. Now, my argument would be pull your kids out of public school, like I said, because they're being indoctrinated, not because of the vaccination thing. I mean, geez. So I would argue, please do not pass Bill 3063. And if you want to stop it, you need to get a hold of your senators. There's 2 senators you need to call, and that's Dallas Hurd and Arnie Roebland for this area. And I think we've got a giveaway. Something weird happened last week. I do a giveaway, and I can go a whole entire show without receiving a call for the show. But anytime I have a giveaway, I'll receive a half a dozen to a dozen phone calls. But last week, when we were doing the debate between the candidates for the North Bend School District, I announced that we were having a giveaway at McDonald's, and we went to commercial, and nobody called. It was the weirdest thing. I've never seen it happen before. I think it was one of the 7 signs. But in case you are listening and you do want to win this wonderful package from a local restaurant, our local McDonald's, and there's one over in Wally World, Walmart. There's one in North Bend. There's one in Reedsport. And there's one in Coos Bay. If you want to win a breakfast sandwich of your choice, a McCafe beverage of your choice, or a free dessert of your choice, and a page of buy one, get one free coupons, all you have to do is be the 3rd caller at 541-267-2124. And with that, I'll be right back.
Spraying in for your next service or repair at Bayshore Auto. They specialize in engine diagnostics, performance, brakes, steering, and suspension, alignments, canopies, exhaust services, accessories, and more. Take care of your vehicle, and it will take care of you. For your car, truck, or motorhome, call Bayshore Auto for all your maintenance needs. Bayshore Auto, 269-2700.
Looking for a new or used firearm? You should get to know the friendly folks at World Pawn Exchange. Located at 1980 Sherman in downtown North Bend, World Pawn Exchange buys, sells, and trades firearms of all types. And with their extensive, ever-changing inventory, they could have just the right firearm for you. If they don't have that gun that you want in stock, they'll be more than happy to special order it for you. World Pawn Exchange in downtown North Bend, where you'll find more than you can possibly imagine.
There's no reason to guess. The verdict is in, and the solid winner continues to be Herbal Choices.
I think everyone knows why Herbal Choices is the leader.
You and I see Herbal Choices the same way, like a part of our family. They know me when I come in, and they're always happy to show me all that's new, including Jim Belushi's new harvest.
Hi, Jim Belushi here. My Belushi Farms private vault is exclusively here, Southern Oregon coast at Herbal Choices. Check it out. It's the only choice.
And no matter where you are, Herbal Choices is close by. Coos Bay, Charleston, and Bandon. They always keep me updated on their website at www.theherbalchoices.com.
No one can compete with Herbal Choices prices. They now have so many locations that they buy large quantities and pass the savings along to their customers. It's their people, friendly, always ready to help with knowledgeable answers. It's like dealing with family.
Do not operate a vehicle under the influence of marijuana. For use by people 21 and older, keep out of the reach of children.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us. We're having a little problem with the bumper music, but that's okay. That's the way it goes with live radio. And I want to thank Mike over at Coos Bay for winning the contest. Congratulations. Hey, if you want to call into the show, that's great, and you want to go on the air, that's even better. But let me tell you, if you call in, please don't take up the time of my producer. He doesn't want to talk to you. He's a guy who's just trying to make a dime. He's just trying to make the show run. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have time to sit here and have conversations with you. So if you want to call the show and you want to be on the air, he's more than happy to put you on the air. He just doesn't want to have a conversation with you because I keep this guy moving. You know what I'm saying? He's got a lot to do in here. So if you call into the show and you want to make a comment, you have to go on the air because it doesn't do any good to talk to my producer. Well, in the news lately, and one of the big things that's going on now is the LNG. Have you guys been checking out all those LNG commercials? You know, I don't really care. I think it's the free market. You can buy as many commercials as you want. But man, every time I go on YouTube and try to watch a video, I get LNG, LNG, LNG. It's like they're really overdoing it. You know, at a certain point, guests are like fish. After a certain point, they all go bad. So just remember that, guys, over there at Pembina. You can really overdo it. But the DEQ issues a decision on the water quality certification for the Jordan Cove project. The Oregon Department of Environmental Quality has issued a decision on Jordan Cove's application for a Section 401 water quality certification. The certification is required for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to issue permits for the project. DEQ's decision is to deny the requested certification at this time, but not probably for the reasons that you're thinking. However, DEQ's action is being made without prejudice. This means that the applicant may reapply for the certification and submit additional information that could result in a different decision, and it probably will. I imagine this is, you know, I still say it's 50-50, but I imagine more than likely Jordan Cove is probably going to go in. If Jordan Cove resubmits an application along with information addressing DEQ's concerns, DEQ will work to keep the timing of its review in line with the overall federal schedule for the project, but this will depend on the applicant submitting the requested information in a timely manner. And I imagine they're not going to have any problem with that because they pay a lot of people a lot of money to do that over there. Well, DEQ had expected to make its decision on certification in September of this year. However, DEQ accelerated the schedule and is making a decision now in order to assure that it does not unintentionally waive Oregon's authority to review the water quality impacts of the proposed project. The Corps initially instructed DEQ to complete its review by May 7th, 2019. However, last fall, the Corps, or as Obama would say, the Corps, extended that date to September 24th, 2019, following the applicant's withdrawal and resubmittal of its application. Recent federal court and agency decisions have raised significant questions about whether this extension is valid. As a result, DEQ is making a decision by the date initially provided by the Corps, May 7th, 2019 of this year, DEQ is denying the requested water quality certification at this time because there is insufficient information to demonstrate compliance with water quality standards, and because the available information shows that some standards are more likely than not to be violated. So it's an iffy question. But DEQ just did deny their certification. Jordan Cove will reapply. They'll reapply with new information, and as long as they don't violate any of the other standards, they should be good to go for this part of it. But I'll tell you what, I would hate to be in the energy business today, because could you imagine what it would be? I mean, if we couldn't get natural gas to our houses if we discovered natural gas. If, let's say, they hadn't discovered natural gas yet, and all of a sudden some guy digging in his field discovers it, they would label it so dangerous that we would never be able to use it. And think of all the lives that would be lost because we wouldn't have the energy to save them. So I never understand people. It's always kind of absolutely ass backwards the way they think and the way they want to do things. I mean, it's like our cars. They complain that there's so much pollution in the air, and a good part of it is due to our automobiles. Well, the fact is that our automobiles, because of technology, not because the demand of our government, but because of the demand of the market and because of our technologies, we're going to be able to produce cars that are almost emitting nothing. They're going to be able to go 60, 70, 100 miles on a gallon of gas. It's eventually going to happen. I don't know when, I don't know how, and it's not going to happen because government mandated it. It's going to happen because technology progresses. And so with that, we can always hope that we'll always have a better car. I hope I have time for this. I see the top of the hour is coming up, but I think I do. 2 good House bills that will probably die in committee. This is really sad because this has to do with public records request. And I told you about one of these a couple of weeks ago, and this is House Bill 3399, would eliminate the liability of requesting public records. Right now, under the law, a person who asks for records and is denied can appeal to the local district attorney, or in the case of state records, to the attorney general to step in and order their release. But if the district attorney and the attorney general does so and the public officials still don't believe they should have to comply with the records request, they can file a lawsuit. But the lawsuit is not filed against the district attorney. No, the lawsuit is filed against the person who is making the records request. That's right. So it puts people who want to find out what's going on in their government in a liability. Well, House Bill 3399 would change the way the system works. Instead of suing the requester, a public entity would be required to sue the district attorney or the attorney general for making their decision. This would be a great bill, and it's too bad that it's going to die in committee. And the reason it's going to die is because the Democratic sponsor has come up under so much opposition to this bill that she's just going to let it lay there and go nowhere further other than the committee that it's sitting in. So that's one of the things that affects people like me, and I'll tell you how. They just had an election in Bandon, and they did a survey, and the survey was on a bill, or was in a electrical bill, and I wanted to get the names of the people who submitted the information or submitted to that survey, and they told me that they would have to black out the information that was personal information, and I told them no, it was a survey and it wasn't a private vote, so there's no expectation of privacy. Well, they refused to give me the unredacted copies of those surveys, and my only choice now is to go to the district attorney and sue the city of Bandon so I can get those records. Well, even if I win, the city can come back after me and sue me. Isn't that nice? So not only do you, the residents or the citizens of this community, get denied your right to know what's going on in your government, but people like me may suffer a liability when we try to show you the records and put them in the light of day. So there's a lot of problems with this public records request. Well, HB 2353 relating to public records as well. The bill would authorize the Attorney General, District Attorney, or court to award penalty to public records requester or waive the fee or fee reduction if a public body responds to a request with undue delay or fails to be responsive to the request at all. It authorizes the Attorney General, District district attorney and or the court to award penalty to public records requesters plus reasonable attorney fees or order fee waiver or fee reduction if public body responds to a request with undue delay or fails to be responsive to the requestee. And they put a declaration of emergency on that, so once it passes, it's law and we can't rescind it. But I don't care because I would support both of these bills, 3399 and HB 2353, and both of them are going to die in committee. Why? Because anytime you get a good bill in Salem, they find some way to kill it. And this was put up by 2 Democrats. And you always hear the Democratic Party. What is the key word they always talk about? Transparency. 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 They're arguing right now about transparency with the Mueller investigation. You know, right now they're trying to say they want to see the document that all of them can see unredacted, but they want to see it unredacted for the public just so they can make a statement. It's all a bunch of semantics, and which is funny because they're threatening to sue Bill Barr, who's the Attorney General, for not providing that evidence and contempt. That's it. They're trying to file him for contempt. Well, they tried to do that to Eric Holder when he wouldn't give up the documents for the Fast and Furious investigation. And guess what happened? Absolutely nothing. And that's going to be the same thing with Bill Barr. They're just going to do a lot of dancing, and that's pretty much about it. And I think with that, are we ready to go to a commercial? Top of the hour. Okay. So I can keep going on with this. So anyone who's interested in hopefully trying to get these bills out of committee, you need to call up to the legislature, and it's easy. Just go on to the Oregon legislature, Google it, however you do it on the computer, and they'll give you a number, and it's House Bill 3399. The other one is House Bill 2353. And I think I hear the music, and with that, we'll be right back.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey, Coos County, how you doing out there? I hope you're doing as well as I am. Couldn't be much better. And I just want to tell you we're going to be switching gears here. And I want to kind of set this up because we're going to go to an interview. And we're going to be talking to Kevin Starrett here from the Oregon Firearms Federation. And if you are someone who is a Second Amendment supporter, you need to get on the internet, and if you want to find out what the latest things are going on, you need to go over to OregonFirearmsFederation.com. I believe it's OregonFirearms.org. That's it. And you can get all the latest information. Kevin sends out all the latest alerts, keep people on top of things, and that's some of the topic that we're going to talk about now. But let me set this up a little bit. Governor Brown slams the grand old party, the Republicans, after absent lawmakers hold up the vote again on the school tax bill. And if you guys don't know, there's a new $2 billion tax bill. And unfortunately, I don't got the number of that bill in front of me. But last Wednesday, Oregon state senators went home for a second day in a row without voting on the Student Success Act. That's what the liberals are calling it. I call it the Rip-Off Ma and Pa Act myself. But the bill would raise an estimated $2 billion for schools over the next 2 years through a 0.5% tax on some of Oregon's wealthiest businesses. Now, what they declare as wealthy and what I declare as wealthy is probably two different things. But Democrats say the money is needed to improve the education system. Ha! Yeah. Especially in a state with some of the largest class sizes and the lowest graduation rates in the country. But Republicans say that the tax plan would raise the prices of consumer goods without fixing schools. Governor Kate Brown, the Democratic governor of Oregon, and other Democrats blasted the Republican lawmakers for holding up the vote. And here's the quote from Kate. Absolutely irresponsible. Maybe I should do it in Kate's voice. Absolutely irresponsible. Well, maybe she doesn't have an English accent, but this is what Kate said. Absolutely irresponsible that the Senate Republicans wouldn't show up and do their jobs, Brown said. If they really care about our school children, if they really care about making sure that our teachers have the tools they need, they would be here fighting to put more money into the classroom where they are missing in action. Well, that's a bunch of BS, because all this is going to do, a lot of this money, most of it, a good portion of it, is never even going to reach the schools. I mean, under the bill, it says that the money would go to the schools. But let's face it, they do this thing called cost shifting or price shifting, where they, use money that was designated to go at a certain place. They take that money and they designate it somewhere else, and then they can use this money for that appropriations. And so it's just a shifting of the cost. And here is what the CNN reported last week. And this is the fake news station. They reported last week that Oregonian teachers walked out, forcing 600 schools to close. Well, yeah, usually when teachers leave, the schools have to close. That's kind of what happens. But they're not demanding raises. Oh, no. They I love CNN. They're going to try to make these teachers look like saints. But tens of thousands of frustrated teachers were airing their grievances at protests across the state Wednesday. But unlike the other teacher walkouts, these educators aren't fighting for higher raises. They're fed up with the overcrowded classrooms and the lack of support staff, including school nurses and mental health counselors. So instead of going to class, many teachers were taking unpaid days off work to flood at least 6 protest sites across the state. The mass exodus of teachers has already forced 25 school districts to close 600 schools Wednesday. This was last Wednesday. And if you guys went out to the boardwalk, you saw those leeches of the public system out there on the boardwalk with their red shirts yelling, "Give us more money, give us more money." Well, actually, they were saying teachers just want to have funds. That was one of the things that said on their shirt, that teachers just want to have funds. It doesn't help you any when you do it like that. But here's what I'm getting to, is that last Wednesday, the Republicans walked off the floor, and they did it for a reason. And one of the reasons was this tax bill, but another reason was for SB 978, which is a horrendous gun bill. And that was something that was lacked in the reporting. And something else that was lacked in the reporting is that we had one of the Republicans stay on the floor, but it was being misreported on why he was staying. And one of the few people who reported the real reason why he was staying, and that would be Kevin Starrett, kind of took a lot of heat for it. And with us on the phone right now to explain what happened is Kevin Starrett. Kevin, how you doing?
Having a great day. How are you, Rob?
Not too bad. Did I put you too much on the spot there?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's an occupational hazard.
I was going to say, since last week, they're making Kevin Starrett targets. They're just going to have you anytime they have a dirty deed. They're just going to start calling you to do it.
Maybe. It's interesting because the Republicans are back on the floor right now. Senator Brian Boquist is testifying against this tax bill. They have agreed to come back if it's a very dangerous situation, because they've agreed to come back with the understanding that this incredibly onerous gun bill 978, which OPB is reporting as modest changes in the gun law,
right?
Which is just, what the heck has happened to reporting these days? Modest changing in the gun law. You drive past the library and you're a felon.
I was going to say, me becoming a felon isn't going to be a modest change in my lifestyle,
picking your wife up at the airport, you're a felon. These are modest changes in the gun law.
Right.
And so Courtney has agreed to allow that bill, 978, to die, and the mandatory inoculation bill to die. And I'll be honest with you, Courtney is known for breaking deals he's made, so we got to be super careful here. But as of right now, I've spoken to leadership today 5 minutes before they went on the floor, and they feel they've done everything they can do. And right now they're debating this $2 billion tax bill, which of course will not go to the classrooms. We have more money going into schools than we ever have, more money going to schools than most states have.
Right.
But it's never enough. It's just absolutely never enough. And all of this money is going to go, you know exactly where it's going. As you've said, this money is going to go into PERS. That's where it's going to go, because we have this circle of the public employees unions feed the Democrats make bills for the public employees union, and around it goes.
Right.
And Oregon continues to circle the drain because the Democrats absolutely refuse to address the fact that we are bankrupt.
Yep. And that's just the basic fact. And they're not willing to cut a thing up there. And, they always are asking people like you and me to just tighten our belts a little bit, but yet they never seem to do that in their situation.
Well, it's just astonishing to me. I mean, I don't believe anything until all these guys have gone home. So theoretically, the deal was made that the mandatory inoculation bill is dead and the gun confiscation bill is dead. In exchange for that, the Republicans came back, and they're on the floor right now. Actually, Tim Knopp is up there right now, discussing this tax bill.
And
this bill does not tax you on what you actually made.
Right.
It taxes you on your gross revenue.
Right.
So if you had $1 million in sales and it cost you $900,000 of that, you get taxed on $1 million.
Yep.
And it's insane. It's absolutely insane what these people are doing. And of course, small businesses, you're a small businessman, everybody's going to just have to close up shop and leave the state because they've got to fund the public employees who keep them in office. And Cliff Bentz was on the floor earlier.
Oh, you're fading, Kevin. Can you get closer?
I'm sorry. Cliff Bentz, who was on the floor earlier, is saying, look, he lives 100 yards from Idaho. He says, everybody's leaving. They're getting out of here. And we watch our cities fail. We watch our children fail. We watch our, human services. We're shipping kids out of state and drugging them. And the reason we have the ability to pay for anything is because the taxes, we collect taxes from people who work and pay taxes.
Yep.
And all of those people are being driven out of the state because who wants to pay taxes on money they've lost?
And, here's the thing, you were talking about Bentz. I was talking to him at the when I was up there in Salem, and one of the comments that he made is that we're getting in his counties, they're getting such an influx of what he calls new type of voters because they're biologists and workers for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, for the BLM, and all of those agencies are coming out there because they're taking more and more land, and you're finding a disproportionate amount of what I call leftist-leaning people coming in compared to the right-leaning people who are already living there.
Well, those are all people who are working for the state.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the state can only pay people with money they have. And if they drive out every single business that actually makes profits, it doesn't happen overnight, but it happens. And if you're a small business, and look, you don't have to be a giant business to have gross sales of $1 million. That's not that much money anymore. But if you gross over $1 million, you're taxed on your gross.
Right.
And if you've netted $10,000, you're taxed on $1 million. And it's almost like you're thinking, are these people that economically ignorant that they can't understand? And you know what? You see the people who are pushing this. They're all people who've never had a real private sector job in their life. Arnie Roblin, Rob Wagner, all these people who've always worked for government agencies where they didn't have to meet a payroll, they didn't have to worry about their employees. And this crap is all about, it's all about the children. No, it's all about the public employees unions. That's what it's about. And that's why Oregon is just fading. It's shameful.
It's almost like we're following the footsteps of Venezuela, because at certain points, people in Portland are going to be eating zoo animals,
Absolutely. Be setting free the bears, Let's go set some zoo animals free so that we have something to eat. And it's just so absurd. It's just absolutely mind-boggling that, okay, no matter how leftist you are, you still want to collect money. And if you keep crushing the people who produce revenue, there won't be any revenue. It's just that simple.
Hey, can you hold on a minute? I got to pay some bills, speaking of that.
Sure.
All right, with that, we'll be right back.
Stop in today to the all-new one-stop gun shop, Hole-in-the-Wall Gun Shop in Coos Bay. Your area leader in quality firearms, Hole in the Wall Gun Shop proudly features the top brands of new and used handguns, hunting rifles, black rifles, antique and collectible guns, ammo, mace, and more. Gun cleaning and repair, expert advice, and handgun safety classes for concealed carry permits are offered too. So stop into Hole in the Wall Gun Shop across from Cumyons on Highway 101 South in Coos Bay. We buy, sell, or trade.
The RV business is booming at the Boomin' Y, and Gibbs RV is looking for nice pre-owned RVs to consign or buy. Gibbs RV makes it so simple. They will come to your location, give you a fair appraisal, and help take care of all the paperwork. It doesn't get any easier than that. So let the professionals at Gibbs RV take the hassle out of selling or consigning your RV. Stop by and see them today at 1845 Ocean Boulevard in Coos Bay by the Big Boomin' Y in Empire, or check them out at gibbsrv.com.
Hi, Danny at Far West Tire and Auto here. With winter in your rearview mirror and summer around the corner, it's time to consider upgrading to Goodyear tires. And now couldn't be a better time. With Goodyear's Soaring into Summer Savings event from April 1st to June 30th, you can get up to $160 back on 4 select Goodyear tires. So stop by Far West Tire and Auto on Highway 101, Coos Bay. Always the right tire, always the right price.
I'm the third generation of our family-owned and operated business, Ragin' Coffee Company. For a quarter of a century, we have been providing some of the best coffee around. We are NOP certified organic by Oregon Tilth since 2007. We make it easy by offering free shipping from our website, RaygenCoffeeCo.com. That's RAYJEN CoffeeCo.com. You can find packaged coffee at Empire Bakery in Coos Bay or the Coffee Connection in Coquille. Give it a try. Ragin' Coffee. You'll be hooked.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey, Coos County, thank you for joining me. And if you are joining us, you're joining Kevin Starrett from the Oregon Firearms Federation. And if you want more information on your Second Amendment rights and what's going on up in Salem, you need to get to OregonFirearms.org, and he has all the latest alerts out there. Kevin, I know that last week it was kind of interesting because I think that you played a really interesting part in this whole walkout where Tom Knopp, who is one of the senators who stayed, and he gave a reason for staying, but that didn't seem to be the real reason according to the leadership from the Republicans who had contacted you. Is this correct?
Well, look. Tim Knopp decided to stay on the floor for reasons that anyone can guess at. When we were told early on,
you're fading out there, Kevin.
I'm sorry there.
That's all right.
Days before he went back on the floor, we were told by extremely reliable sources that he was going to join the Democrats and stay on the floor and not assist in this walkout. Now, what his motivations are, well, that's anybody's guess. But the fact is, by being there, and of course they're all there now because of this deal that they say that they have made with Courtney. But by being there, he put all of us at great risk because all it took would be for the state troopers to go and drag one more Republican senator onto the floor. It could have been Jackie Winters, who probably would have had to have been brought in a wheelchair on a gurney. And then no matter how they voted, the Democrats could pass anything they wanted. And of course, he's saying, "Well, I'm here doing the work. I'm a hero. I'm here to represent the people." Well, it's nonsense. It's complete and utter nonsense. And we were attacked and off on our Facebook page and emails. We were attacked viciously because we pointed out that he had joined the Democrats. And in fact, no, my God, he's a great patriot. He's there negotiating. Well, nobody authorized him to negotiate anything. He's not leadership. He had no role doing that. And what he was doing was giving the Democrats a tool to ram through massive tax increases, massive gun control, massive forced inoculations, all these things that are completely antithetical to what free people believe in. And we got some crazy hate mail about that.
Yeah.
The fact is that this is what he did when all the other Republicans left at great personal expense and liability to themselves, because if they're not on the floor, the state police have the authority to go out and arrest them if the Senate president asked them to.
Right.
So they were at grave risk. They risked themselves, and Tim went down there and joined the party. And he told people, "Oh, I'm just down here representing you." Well, where the heck were all the rest of them? Why were they not representing you? Because they took the position that, look, we are being ignored. Rural Oregon is being stomped on because Portland controls everything. And Knope went along for the ride. And, he said, well, I've got to be here to represent people and negotiate, except he wasn't representing anyone and he wasn't negotiating anything. Why do you don't negotiate anything on the floor? It just doesn't happen. So, if he wanted to go negotiate something, which he doesn't, I don't know who authorized him to negotiate anything, but I know for a fact nobody did.
Right.
But if he wanted to go have negotiations, go into Courtney's office, make your demands, and then get the heck out of there.
Right.
But don't be on the floor where you have it's not even possible to negotiate anything. So, I don't know what his motivations were. I just know that he put a lot of Oregonians at risk and abandoned his colleagues who have a lot of different points of view, but took the risk to walk away.
I'll be honest with you, Kevin. I was amazed that they were all able to walk out of there. I mean, after talking to some of them, they just didn't seem to have the backbone or the will. But I was quite impressed that they were able to finally do it.
Well, they did it, and obviously at this point it appears that it's made a difference. These two bills, they say, the Democrats have said that they're dropping these bills. Of course, they can find a way to squeeze the language into some other bill. So clearly nobody's going to relax until these people all go home.
Right.
But the Republicans did what they had to do. They had no other choice. The Democrats have taken control. They have supermajorities. And if they weren't confronted, every single liberty that you believe in would just evaporate.
I know, and it's immensely scary. Some of the things, it's not the bills that they're arguing and debating a lot of times. It's some of the bills that never even got out of committee that were so horrendous that you just are. If people only knew what they were doing, I think they would revolt,
Well, the problem is that hardworking people, if they're still allowed to have jobs, which in rural Oregon is becoming more and more rare,
right,
do not have the time to track what these people are doing minute by minute down there. And I understand that. That's why organizations like ours exist, to be able to consolidate information for people so that they don't have to spend hours watching floor sessions. And the fact is that the Democrats have decided that nobody's liberty matters at all in any respect. That if you have a business, you're going to be taxed out of existence. If you believe in personal autonomy, you're going to be told what's going to be injected into your body. If you believe in being able to protect yourselves, we're going to make you a felon because you drove near an airport, not to an airport, near an airport. And you have all your liberties stolen, and you get to pay much more for it, even though your businesses are not allowed to make any money anymore. And it's a horrifying situation. But so, I believe the Senate Republicans did what they could do, and we will see how this works out because, deals you make with Peter Courtney are not really worth much. I did talk to the Senate Republican leader, 5 minutes before he went on the floor. And he said,
you're fading again.
I'm sorry. He said we did what we could do, and
yeah.
I believe that's true. And so,
well, we'll have to wait.
A couple of weeks will play things out.
Yeah, and I'll be had. I think what are they out of there? June 15th, June 14th, something like that?
End of June.
End of June. It's not soon enough, believe me. And one of the things that kind of, ticked me off about a lot of the people attacking you for questioning what Knope was doing was that I don't think a lot of people realized that when we were going around doing that Second Amendment sanctuary ordinance and we were going from county to county, a lot of the opposition was coming from the Republicans who were the commissioners in the county. So, we kind of get tired of getting burned from that party itself. So that's why we watch them so closely.
Well, it's funny. A National Rifle Association put out an alert saying, please thank the following senators for walking off the floor. And they included Tim Knope, who did not walk off the floor, and Betsy Johnson, who, while is pro-gun, is a Democrat and did not walk off the floor. They were there.
Right.
And so we posted that link on our Facebook page and just pointed out saying, this is not accurate. These people did not walk off the floor. And I mean, I had this one gal immediately write and saying, you're spreading more lies about Tim Knope. It's like, well, did you read it?
Right.
I'm not spreading anything. There it is in black and white. They're lying to you. The NRA is lying to you about who walked off the floor. And then all you got to do is read it.
I know.
People are just spreading lies, you know.
And the funny thing was like you said, you weren't questioning any of his loyalty to the Second Amendment because the guy has been, for the most part, a Second Amendment supporter, from what I can tell. So,
oh, he has been. What I was saying is that all the other Republican senators took an action that put them at risk.
Yep.
And he chose to stand with the Democrats. And you know, the day the first day that he wasn't on the floor, his son, who runs a website called Oregon Catalyst, put out a story saying how great he was because he wasn't on the floor. The next day, when he returned to the floor, his son put out an article saying how brave he was for returning to the floor. And it's like, well, which is it,
which
really?
Is it? Yeah, and that was what I was reading when I was reading his article. When I read his first article, I thought, all right, for him, taking a stand. And then the next day, I was all, well, did he leave or did he not leave, you know?
Yeah, and then, you know, there was a story in some local paper today, it was a Salem Reporter or someplace, saying, you know, yes, he was on the floor, but he wasn't sitting at his desk. He was sitting at the back of the room. Well, so what?
Yeah.
I mean, why was he sitting at the back of the room? Probably because there's no cameras there, you know. And then there was another story said, oh, he was just there because he had to move forward this bill for victims that he was working on, Casey's Law. Well, that bill passed the Senate in April. So now it's like, oh, well, I had to be here to testify on the House side. Well, as far as I can tell, there's no opposition to the bill on the House side. So why was he compelled to be there?
Yeah, that Casey...
You know, I mean, we've taken a bunch of hate about this, but the reality is that, you know, 11 other Republican senators took a risk, and he went to work.
Right.
And when he goes to work, all he does is help the Democrats in tax increases and gun control and everything else. So, you know, I'd love to be proven wrong, but I got to question the dude's motivation.
I completely agree with you. And the thing is that we're not asking him really to do anything that the others did. We're just asking him why he did it the way he did it. And the other thing is that we're demanding that the Democrat Senator Arnie Roblin, who's our senator here in Coos Bay, please forgive us. Our Senator Arnie Roblin, we're asking him to take the risk of being taken off a committee by killing the bill in the Judiciary Committee. I think it's in the Judiciary.
It's actually the Rules Committee.
The Rules Committee.
Yeah.
And so we're asking him to kill the bill there and to risk losing his committee seat. And, you know, so, you know, if we're, you know, it's not like we're asking the Republicans to do anything we wouldn't ask the others to do, is, I guess, my point.
Well, look, if Roblin has virtually no risk of losing that committee seat, and if he did, in all likelihood, he would lose it for that one vote.
Right.
And Roblin claims to be opposed to the bill, but he said, I am forced to vote for it in committee. And if he votes for it in committee, as you and I both know, it passes, period.
Right.
Now, apparently, that bill, they're telling us that bill is dead. 978, the gun confiscation bill, is dead. No thanks to Arnie Roblin, you know, who was so wishy-washy and such a fraud on this.
Yep.
But if that's true, we aren't guaranteed that some of that language won't get stuffed into something else. And so, I mean, I've seen this happen on the last day of sessions where gun bills were dead, and Ginny Burdick convinced Peter Courtney to revive some bill and add a bunch of language to it. So, you know, the people who are opposed to forced vaccinations are celebrating. I think some gun people are celebrating, and I think they all better just, you know, keep their powder dry, because nothing's over till it's over.
Right, and I would agree with you wholeheartedly. It's not over until you're over. Kevin, we got to get out of here. But before we do, could you just tell everyone how to get in contact with you? And
Yeah, it's super easy. OregonFirearms.org. There's a ton of information there. Anything that you don't see that you need more information on, all our contact information is there, our phone number, our email. We respond to those things. We are not an organization that demands that you send us money before we communicate with you. You know, people are generous when they believe that you're doing work for them. So OregonFirearms.org has everything that people need to keep track of this stuff and get in touch with us. Join our alert list. There's a tab there to put in your email address. Doesn't cost anything. It's totally free, and then you will be up to date on everything that's happening the second it happens, and we love to have you.
all right. Well, thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it, and we'll be talking to you next time, okay?
Thank you. Take care.
All right, and with that, we'll be right back.
For 20 years, the Oregon Firearms Federation has been Oregon's only no-compromise voice for gun rights. While other organizations who claim to speak for gun owners made deals to bargain away your liberty and property, often stood face-to-face with the gun grabbers in Salem to protect your rights. But there's never been a more dangerous time to be a gun owner in Oregon, and we need your help. To become part of the fight for Second Amendment rights and to sign up for free legislative alerts, please visit our website at OregonFirearms.org. That's OregonFirearms.org.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Genucel right now is having their 50% off limited time sale. It's their half price clearance sale. And if you order Genucel to get rid of bags and puffiness under your eyes, you'll also get Chamonix's brand new Platinum Tan Enhancing Body Lotion. That's a free gift. Perfect hydration, tan, and protection to rejuvenate, hydrate, maintain that bright summer glow with a lotion unlike anything you can buy in any store. So sit back, relax, enjoy the beach with the best looking skin possible and no bags or puffiness under your eyes. They're gone. Everybody I know that's tried Genucel from Chamonix loves it, swears by it. Linda, Lauren, and so many others. Call now 800-SKIN-509, 800-SKIN-509, guaranteed to work in 12 hours. Your money back guaranteed, no risk to you. You'll also get the Platinum Tan Enhancing Body Lotion free while supplies last. And if you call now, shipping is free. It's 800-SKIN-509. It's the half-price summer clearance sale at Genucel.com. 1-800-SKIN-509 from our friends at Chamonix and Genucel.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss. Ken Fisher, founder and executive chairman of Fisher Investments.
We don't sell annuities. We'll never sell annuities. Most annuities have nosebleed level fees, don't do what the customer thinks they do, have tremendous tax problems, are hard to get out of once you're in them, and are extremely confusing.
Don't let the sound of guaranteed income lead you to financial headache. Call now for your free report, Annuity Insights, and find out why legendary money manager Ken Fisher hates annuities. Call 1-800-770-3377 and see what you might be getting into.
Anything you want to do with annuities, there's a better way to do. If you have more than $500,000 to invest, talk to us.
Get your free report, Annuity Insights, and find out the 9 questions every annuity investor should ask. Call now, 1-800-770-3377. That's 1-800-770-3377.
There's a common assumption about identity theft. A lot of people believe it's just credit card fraud, but credit card fraud isn't the only form of identity theft. And if you're just protecting your identity by monitoring your credit and checking your bank statements, well, you could miss some forms of identity theft. Like, for example, your information being for sale on the dark web. That means somebody getting an online payday loan in your name, or even someone draining your 401k. Now, thank God there's LifeLock. Now, they use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a wide range of identity threats. You have a problem, one of their U.S.-based restoration specialists will work to fix it. Now, we can't prevent all identity theft, monitor every transaction, but with LifeLock.com, you can see more than you'd see by just monitoring your credit. Join now. You get a 10% discount just by visiting LifeLock.com/Hannity, or just call 1-800-LifeLock. Use the promo code Hannity. LifeLock.com/Hannity and save 10%.
Hi, I'm Rich Waters for Jim Vick Auto Sales. For those of you that know me, you know that my family and I have dealt with Jim Vick for more years than we'd like to admit. I've always known Jim as a look you in the eye and deal on a handshake kind of guy. You may have heard that Jim retired recently, but I'm here to set the record straight. Jim is still selling great-looking, clean, exclusive cars at his new location just down the street from his former location. He's now at 2091 Broadway, and he keeps a display of his best cars right there for you to see and drive. Let my friend Jim Vick put you in the right car on your budget. Jim Vick Auto Sales, now at 2091 Broadway in North Bend. Jim will work with you all the way to make sure you have the car and the deal you want. As Jim Vick himself would say, wait a minute. Here he is to say it himself.
Remember, if I can't save you money, I don't deserve your business.
Jim Vick Auto Sales.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I want to thank Kevin from Oregon Firearms for coming on. You know, it's good to have someone who's an expert who lives up in Salem or in the Salem area who keeps in good contact with them. Something that I try to do on a regular basis is keep those contacts with people who are in the know and who have the real story, because I see a lot of people put out a lot of fake news out there on the internet. And, you know, this at the beginning of the hour, I was talking about the gentleman who did that. So it's, you know, it's pretty bad out there if you are going to malign someone. But right now we're going over to Tom and Giggs, and we're speaking with Tim. Hey, Tim, how you doing?
No fake news here, brother.
All right.
No fake news. We just do the real deal here. If you want the real story on your car, we'll tell you the truth. We won't give you some baloney line. It's like.
Hey, I was telling people about my last. I was telling people about my last visit over there and how we saw the guy in the car and in the window, and he was trying to get into the girl's. You know, she was driving away, and he was on the side of the car. And, oh yeah.
Oh, it just gets crazier and crazier, I tell you. It's unbelievable.
It's like Empire. You don't need to even have a theater out there. You just go sit on a corner on a lawn chair, and you can watch the whole show, you know?
It's unbelievable. I you know, it's just, you know, I think some of these people, all these people that are camping out here, I think they need to be, I mean, really, you think, I mean, I'm sure the commissioners and those people have some really nice places. And I think they ought to be able to put their tent city right on their front lawn, and those people just have a barbecue with them folks and just hang out, man, and live the dream. Really care for those people.
Let's
step up there, officials, and help these folks out instead of sticking them out here in Empire and under a tree and they're freezing to death. Man, invite them in your home.
Yeah, Commissioner, the Sweet lives over here in Coos Bay. He has a really nice house, and he has a pretty good yard. Yeah,
he probably has a wall, man.
And the you know, I bet Benetti, the mayor over here, I bet he has a pretty nice house. Yeah, he should let some of those homeless people in his yard. I mean, those RVs.
They've been blessed with an incredible job, and I really think they should return those blessings.
Yep.
They should give them back to the people. I mean, if they really care. So anyway, it's been a while. Well, we care about your car. And you can bring your car down here, and we can check it out and do whatever you need, whether you just want to make it sound cool, look cool, fix the necessary things like brakes and shocks and suspension. If you want to doll your truck up with some, you know, a tonneau cover or steps or electronic steps or towing products, you know, hinges and wiring and all that sort of thing, and the lighting that goes along with the 4x4 stuff and all the trick stuff for 4x4s, and, of course, all the RC stuff. So come from the real trucks to down to the mini RC stuff. We've got tons of stuff, and Josh has got a ton of knowledge. You know, if it's out there, he's probably heard of it, or if he hasn't, by golly, he'll check it out. But we got a lot of brochures you can leave with down here from Traxxas and BD and Iron Cross and all this different stuff. So there's a lot of information you can get here. Come and check it out. It's pretty cool. We're always trying to get more stuff all the time, but come down and see what we got if you haven't been down, and if you need some work done on your car, you've been putting it off, give us a call. We'll try to do an inspection on it and, you know, look at the brakes, the shocks, and the tie rods and U-joints and all those things that usually have wear problems, and you don't want to wait until it breaks because summer's coming and we're going to be using our rigs and it's going to get busy. So get things done now.
Oh, yeah, and I would recommend it because, like you said, I think it's going to be a beautiful summer, and if you want to get out there, better find out what's wrong with your vehicle before you get out in the middle of nowhere and it breaks.
Absolutely. Well, 2 quotes a day, and I'll leave you be with the address and the phone number to get a hold of us. But just what you're talking about today, and thank goodness we got watchdogs like OFF. All those guys are phenomenal. I mean, it takes a lot of work and dedication to do what they do, and sure appreciate them guys. But this guy it was Kurt Schlichter. He was a colonel in the U.S. Army, and he says, remember, every Democrat running for president wants you just as disarmed and defenseless as the Venezuelan people are in the face of their socialist masters. Obey the founders, buy guns and ammo. That's pretty awesome.
Yep.
And good old Charlton Heston, telling us what to think has evolved in telling us what to say. So telling us what to do can't be far behind. It's so true. It's just, they want you to shut up, go along. They're intolerant. We're supposed to tolerate all their garbage. No, that's not the way it works.
Right.
So anyway, stand up for your rights. Say something. Don't just take people's crap. Try to get into a common sense discussion if you can with them. They usually don't like the facts thrown in their face because they don't know how to deal with it. But it's still kind of fun to see them go libtard on you, or a little Trump derangement syndrome going on. So it's alive and well around here. I've seen it. So I think it's great. But just got to keep the fire burning. I appreciate you. 135 South Shoneman in Coos Bay is easy to get a hold of us down here at the shop. Just one block past the Boom and Wine Empire, and 541-888-4660. And nobody's taken my offer up of $10,000 and show me the tax code shows your compensation for labor is a taxable event.
I guess maybe
it must not be there.
It must not be there.
It's just funny, isn't it?
Thank you, Tim.
Just keep it. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Get on with it.
You got it, man.
Later, buddy.
Later. All right. Right now, it's funny. If you go to Facebook, I believe they're taking a vote on the bill, SB 947. I mean, not SB 978 or 947. I forget the damn number of that. It's the $2 billion tax bill. If I'm correct, I think they're taking a vote on it right now, but I may be mistaken here. I'm trying to keep up with Facebook and talk to you at the same time, but right now, you can be a lucky winner of a Lucky Star House Special. And let me tell you, if you win the House Special, you better bring a friend, because it's going to take at least 2 or 3 of you to eat this whole meal. And it includes a barbecue pork, sweet and sour pork, fried shrimp, spring roll, pork fried rice, and pork chow mein. And if you want to be the lucky recipient of that, you have to be the third caller at 541-267-2124. And after this break, some food for thought with Jim Bice.
Looking for a new or used firearm? You should get to know the friendly folks at World Pawn Exchange. Located at 1980 Sherman in downtown North Bend, World Pawn Exchange buys, sells, and trades firearms of all types. And with their extensive, ever-changing inventory, they could have just the right firearm for you. If they don't have that gun that you want in stock, they'll be more than happy to special order it for you. World Pawn Exchange in downtown North Bend, where you'll find more than you can possibly imagine.
Spraying and for your next service or repair at Bayshore Auto. They specialize in engine diagnostics, performance, brakes, steering, and suspension, alignments, canopies, exhaust services, accessories, and more. Take care of your vehicle, and it will take care of you. For your car, truck, or motorhome, call Bayshore Auto for all your maintenance needs. Bayshore Auto, 269-2700.
The clear leader, Herbal Choices. Join the Herbal Choices happy family for best selection. 100 strains, always fresh. Unlike stores that always have the same old products, there's always something new at Herbal Choices. 100 strains and growing. And check Jim Belushi's new harvest. Just in again and better than ever at Herbal Choices. Coos Bay, Charleston, and Bandon. And online at theherbalchoices.com.
Hey, Jim Belushi here. Herbal Choices on the southern Oregon coast is where you can find my new harvest. Belushi's Private Vault. Check it out.
And reasons are clear. With 100 strains, Herbal Choices sells so much product that everything is always fresh. And there seems to be something new every time I see my Herbal Choices happy family. All our friends agree. The clear winner is Herbal Choices. The only choice.
Check it out. It's the only choice.
Do not operate a vehicle under the influence of marijuana. For use by people 21 and older, keep out of the reach of children.
And now, here's some food for thought from Jim Bice.
Every once in a while, a politician finds himself in a position to be either a hero to the people he supposedly represents or a villain. Such is the case with our own state senator, Arnie Roblin. Arnie is facing a tough choice at the moment, and it revolves around Senate Bill 978, the likely unconstitutional anti-gun bill that, among other things, would instantly turn thousands of law-abiding Oregonians into criminals. Arnie sits on the Senate Rules Committee, where Senate Bill 978 is currently awaiting a vote. If it passes out of this committee, it will go to the full floor of the Senate and will almost certainly pass. There aren't enough Republicans on the committee to stop the bill. But if Arnie Roblin would vote no, the bill could be defeated in committee, preventing it from going to the full Senate floor. So if Roblin joins the Republicans, the bill is dead. If he votes yes, the bill goes to the Senate floor, where it will almost certainly pass, even if Roblin votes no. According to reports from several sources, people have been deluging Arnie Roblin's office with calls and emails telling him to vote against Senate Bill 978. He's reportedly receiving over 1,000 emails a day regarding this issue, and that's not taking into account the phone calls. Now, Arnie has said he's going to vote against it on the floor, but his office is also telling people that he plans to vote yes in the Rules Committee when the bill gets a work session there. In other words, he's playing a political game and assuming we the people are too stupid to understand what he's doing. If the bill passes out of committee and advances to the floor, it will pass, even if he votes against it there. But he'll certainly be telling everyone he supported our Second Amendment by voting against the bill on the floor, even though he will be the deciding vote in the committee and could stop it there if he really opposed it. Keep in mind that Roblin is under pressure from the Democrat Party and many of his political and financial supporters to vote it out of committee. Probably the only thing that will make Roblin be the hero here and vote against the bill in committee is unrelenting public pressure, and that can only come from folks like you. Don't you find it interesting that one of the arguments the anti-gunners use is that the Second Amendment is obsolete in modern society, that there's no need to have fear of or defend ourselves from government? These are the same people who, if they could, would use the power of government to forcibly confiscate your firearms. In Venezuela several years ago, under a previous dictator, the people there were convinced by their elitist socialist leaders that they should surrender their firearms. At that time, Venezuela was one of the richest and most prosperous countries in South America. Look at Venezuela today. The succession of socialist regimes has left the country, as of now, one of the poorest in South America. The people want a new government. They even voted in a new government. But the dictator has refused to leave, and he owns the military, and the people have no defense, thanks to the fact that they basically disarmed themselves a few years ago. If not stopped now, could the same thing happen here? Just some food for thought.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey, buddy. Thank you for joining us. I was listening to that food for thought from Jim Bice, and I thought, wow. I heard that earlier today, and I thought it was almost like he was reading my notes for the show right over my shoulder, because the whole food for thought fit right in with everything that we've been speaking about. And so it was great that to have him on, to still have him as part of the show. I think it's good to have people who are experienced with life, because there's a lot of experience out there in the world today, and I don't think we cherish it as much as we probably should. I don't know about you guys, but I was watching the news. I do that quite often. And did you see where in Colorado, after that school shooting, that they were politicizing the trauma of the students? The students didn't take it, though. The students walked out of the Colorado school shooting vigil that they were having. And this happened in Highland Ranch, Colorado. I've been to Highland Ranch, Colorado. I know right where that is. And I can tell you right now, it's a very small community. And the event last week was primarily billed as a vigil to honor Kendrick Castillo, who was fatally shot in the rampage by 2 students at the STEM school. Speakers at the school's packed gymnasium, however, were mostly politicians and advocates pressing Congress for more restrictive gun laws. The traumatized shooting survivors who excited the rally who were excited about the rally, got a little mad, and what they did is they walked out on the rally. And they were yelling as they walked out, mental health, implying that it's not about an inanimate object. It's about the crazy loons who we are allowing to run the system. You know, we talk about a lot of things in this country. You know, we talk about these red flag laws. Well, maybe we wouldn't need red flag laws if there were still institutions for people who had mental health problems. Maybe if we dedicated some more of our resources towards helping the mentally challenged. I mean, like I was saying earlier, you walk around the streets of Empire and you can see the guy, and I know all of you in Empire know this guy. He's walking around talking to himself, doing that weird skip as he walks. I mean, he's just a freak. Well, it'd be nice if we had places for him to go to, and places like the shooters who are in the schools today. And a lot of these students, even if you had mental health facilities, guess what? You can't prevent death. You can't stop someone from going ape crazy. It's going to happen. And it's going to happen again. But the problem is that these politicians who want to politicize such a horrible act. And it's so wonderful that the students and the parents of this school who were victims of this school shooting, who went to this vigil, they stood up and said, hell no, we're not going to be politicized. Now, this whole event was organized by the Brady campaign to prevent gun violence. But they really are not interested in preventing gun violence. What they are really interested in doing is disarming the civilian population so they can impose their socialist utopia and we can all live wonderfully like they do in Venezuela. You think I'm making it up? It's what they want to do. You don't have to ask me. Send an email to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Ask her. She would more than gladly tell you how she wants to disarm the society and wants to create this socialist utopia where government not only tells you what to think, what to say, but what to do. I'm not ready for that. I'm an adult. I don't need them telling me what to do. And I'm getting a little sick of them trying to exploit our children in the schools. They know they're being used. They're not fools. And they're being used as pawns. It's kind of like the North Bend School District when they did that single user bathroom and they called it a gender neutral bathroom. They didn't have to do that, but they did it because they wanted to push their ideology of grouping us all into one group or another. See, if you call it a single serve bathroom, that means any individual can use it. And we should make everything oriented to the individual. But they want to make it oriented to a group, so that's why they called it a neutral gender bathroom. And that's the difference. So if you can hear that music, it's time again that we head on down happy trails. And until next week, you carry on because it's going to be a good week. Take care, Coos County.